Hey, I've received a bunch of questions about what actually happens inside an editing project, and I wanted to create this video about the topic so that you can peek behind the curtain and see what happens during this kind of project to help improve your book content. So first off, you would send me the file, and what I would do is read through a selection of it and give you my best recommendation on the type of editing that I recommend for you. If you have an idea of what type of editing you think you need, then we take that into consideration too, and we'll have a conversation around it, either through email or perhaps in a brief 15-minute or so phone conversation, just to see, are we in agreement? Is there anything that I need to know more about? Is there anything that you need to know more about? And we begin our collaboration that way. Another person asked me, is this a collaboration, or do I go away and edit and then just deliver the edits and then that's the end of the relationship? It is definitely a collaborative process. I view myself as a thought partner. My clients view me as a thought partner. And what they truly appreciate about me is that I don't just go in and move words around, but we are really thinking through the flow, the ideas. We're looking for content gaps and so on, so that you can be writing the best book possible and have happy readers at the end, which is what we're looking for. Happy and educated readers who learn more about what you do. So when we're discussing the types of editing, it's important to know that there's 3 or 4 types. I say 4 types, some people say 3. But I split them up into 4 areas, and that is developmental editing, line editing, copy editing, and proofreading. Those are the 4 main areas that every book needs in order to be successful. And there are sometimes overlaps between those 4. So for instance, proofreading and copy editing both have a focus on the spelling and also the grammar. So you'll see that there is some overlap in these different areas. Let me go over those really quickly so you can kind of see what it is, each section is. So you submit the manuscript to me, then we have that conversation, we decide what type of editing you need, and you will know exactly what it is that I will be working on in your book, which is great. So in the developmental editing, that would be focusing more on the structure. That's more if you haven't written the book yet, or mostly if you haven't written the book yet or you need an outline, that is probably the stage where you need to start. And we figure out your audience if that hasn't been done already. We figure out the outline or add to it if that hasn't been done already. And we're basically starting your book and figuring out what content goes in this, where is the best place for that content to live inside your book in order to communicate the ideas that you want to get across to your audience. And throughout this whole process, the audience is number one, the reader is number one, and we're always thinking about them. We're always thinking, what do they need to know? Are they going to understand this? And as your editor, I'm an advocate and friend of your reader. And so, and I play the role of the reader sometimes so that we can make sure that this is going to be an understandable book that will be comprehended by people who can benefit from it. The other type of editing is line editing. This focuses a lot on the sentences and perfecting those, word choice, checking for misused words, making sure that the sentences flow well, that they're in the right order, that paragraphs sort of have an introductory or topic sentence if needed. Sometimes there's quite a bit of rearranging that needs to happen at this stage, or an idea that got over here really needs to go back over here. Maybe one little sentence really needs to be in a different paragraph. So those kinds of things happen. I'm also looking for repetition in that stage. Sometimes if authors started the project and didn't have an outline, they might have gone back and repeated an idea, or perhaps they repeated an anecdote or a story. So I'm also looking for that to make sure that we're not repeating any ideas unless it's a purposeful part of the structure. There are reasons why sometimes certain kinds of repetition can work. Of course, there's always those kinds of exceptions. In the fourth kind, the third kind is copy editing. So in copy editing, we're focusing on the grammar, the spelling. We're looking at the tone, like what tone are you using? Is the tone of voice carried throughout throughout the entire book. If chapter 2 is really serious and then chapter 3 is really playful with a lot of slang, that's going to be strange for your reader. So we want to have a consistent tone of voice throughout the book. We're also looking at style considerations, how you spell words, how you refer to any products, services, or tools that you might use. Sometimes those have interesting spellings, and that needs to be conveyed the same way throughout the entire book. We're also looking for any kind of wordiness at the copy edit stage. Is there anything that's being said in 10 words that could be said in 5? Those are the kinds of things I love to work on, and can help you go really far as that goes, so that you write only what is needed. Excuse me. We're also looking for any kinds of clunky transitions, either between paragraphs or that very tricky transition from the end of one chapter to the start of the next one. I will look at the transitions and make sure they're flowing and working well from place to place throughout your book. And then we're also looking for any kind of uneven flow throughout the book, which is somewhat related to the transitions, any misused words. There's so many words in English that can be similar, so we want to make sure that we're using the right words in the right place, and so on. Now, how is proofreading the same? Well, proofreading can also focus on the grammar and the spelling. It also adds on looking at punctuation, capitalization, and also formatting. So making sure that, if your book has page numbers, making sure those page numbers are correct, making sure that you're not using one font on one page and then another font on the next page, or making sure that the headings are all the same, or setting up your styles in Google Docs or Microsoft Word. This will make you have a very happy formatting person or designer person later on who puts your book together. Having all of this in order can really save time and can save you money in the long run. So that's the main, those are the main areas that are covered. And then the other part of this is in the collaboration part of the editing, we are having conversations. Sometimes we communicate by email. Sometimes we communicate through a walkie-talkie app, which basically you just talk into your phone to me and leave a message, and then I can talk into my phone and leave you a message. If you're in Europe, it works a little bit like WhatsApp. We can also use WhatsApp for my European friends. And I know people use it in the US, but it's just more common to use WhatsApp in Europe, I believe. And of course, there's always Zoom and having a phone call that way. So there's a lot of different ways that we communicate in order to be able to make progress on your book. And the whole process is done with empathy, and I provide guidance throughout it that's empathetic, and also is keeping in mind that you are the boss of your book. So if there's something that you want to change or you want things a certain way, my job is definitely to offer you my opinion and my expertise. However, the final decision for these kinds of things will always rest with you. So I always tell my clients, you are the boss of your own book. However, I am here to be able to bring up questions because that's my job. And then I do not feel like I have to get my way. So I'm here to probe, ask questions, make the book better, help you, be of service, guide you through this process, which can seem so confusing, so that you can have an excellent, high quality nonfiction book. Feel free to visit my website, radiantmedialabs.com. Every month, I have a free event, which you're welcome to come to. It's a book class, and they rotate, the topics rotate. And one of the topics is how to publish your book. So be sure to get enrolled in that. Enrollment is ongoing. So you're welcome to come to my website and enroll in that book, in that class. And I would love to see you there. All right, take care. Bye-bye.